Welcome everybody to the Philosophy Garden. The Philosophy Garden is a place where we produce and gather resources for young people, educators, and the general public so that they can get a better understanding of complex and timely phenomena that interest us all using the tools of philosophy. Why do we want to do that? Well, we think it's important to bring philosophical analysis and critical skills to bear on everyday thinking and decision making, and also encourage everyone, but especially young people, to provide creative responses to problems in society that affect us all. We also want information that comes from experts, interdisciplinary researchers working on a specific issue, such as conspiracy theories or misinformation, to be accessible. So we are creating resources that are fun, easy to use, and free. When it comes to conspiracy theories and misinformation, there are two key questions that we want to address. First of all, how is it that we come to accept a conspiracy theory as a true explanation of events that are important to us? And why do we seem to hang on to the conspiracy theory and be very resistant to changing our mind about it? And secondly, is there something wrong that we are doing when we endorse a conspiracy theory? That we just happen to believe that the right explanation is a minority explanation that is not mainstream, that is not accepted by mainstream culture? Or are we actually doing something wrong? Is there something wrong with our reasoning that leads us to the conspiracy theory? Of course, these issues and themes are very closely connected to a thinking skills curriculum where we may be wondering how to gather data, how to assess different sources of information, how to eliminate biases and fallacies from our reasoning, how to draw conclusions from the evidence, and how to construct good arguments or assess arguments provided by others. Now, the way in which we are conceiving of these resources starts from an explainer video. An explainer video is a short animated video that explains a concept. It's usually about 90 seconds, maybe 2 minutes, and there is just really one point that the video can make, but it can make it in a very vivid and practical way. In our minds, the explainer videos are similar to the Aesop fables, the classic fables by Aesop, where you've got talking animals interacting with each other in a short space of time. And you've got a message at the end of the story that suggests how you should behave in the future based on the story. So there are three features that we think make the explainer video quite a good vehicle for philosophical thinking and discussion. The explainer video, just like the Aesop fable, is brief and to the point. It has an engaging story, there are animal characters that appeal even to younger children, and there is an interaction. There cannot be any plot or character development because the video is too short, and that was the same with the Aesop fable. But in both, there is a concrete problem to be solved or a decision to be made. So there is something quite concrete, not abstract, that enables people to concentrate easily on what is at hand. And further, because you've got this final message, which suggests how people should behave in the future, the explainer video and the Aesop fable are practical. There is a simply stated interpretation of the story. You may agree or disagree with it, but it's there, it's explicit, and it's open for debate. Now, because the explainer video is so short, then of course it is not enough to support philosophical analysis and discussion, but it can be complemented with additional resources. There can be questions that can be asked to individuals or small groups to facilitate reflection or discussion. And there can be additional material such as mini talks by experts, online articles, blog posts, handouts with information that can help people go away and learn more about the topic outside the context of the story. Let me just give you a brief example of what an explainer video can look like using the story of the ant and the grasshopper, which is an original Aesop fable, which we have adapted in order to be able to talk about conspiracy theories.
How do conspiracy theories take hold?
Our supply of seeds is gone. It's a disaster. This trail of seeds leads to Beetle. He must have taken our seeds.
Don't jump to conclusions. How can you be so sure that it was Beetle? We haven't gathered enough clues yet. Spider, what do you think? Grasshopper's theory makes sense. Yesterday, Beetle was ogling your seeds. He must have decided to steal them in the night. Today, your seeds are gone, and now he's fast asleep. Grasshopper's theory makes sense. I give you that, Spider. But looking at all these leaves off the branches and the nests fallen on the ground, isn't it more likely that the strong wind last night scattered our seeds around? Grasshopper, you are stuck. When you can't stand the uncertainty, you may be tempted by an intriguing story, a story that is simple and coherent and points to someone else as the villain. When we do not know how a new virus emerged, we may speculate that evil scientists created it in their lab. But we should wait and gather more evidence, because once we commit to a theory, it is difficult to give it up.
So you see, this video is only 90 seconds, but there is a lot in it that helps us understand how people are attracted to conspiracy theories and why they don't give them up so easily. There are lots of questions that we can ask about the story. What makes Grasshopper's explanation different from, maybe worse than, Ant's explanation of the missing seeds? That's a starting point. We can also notice the similarities between ant and grasshopper. They both search for clues. They're both curious about what happened. They're both interested in explanations. So why is it that they come to different conclusions? And you will have noticed towards the end of the video, grasshopper gets stuck to the spider web. So what can that mean? Why is it that we don't give up conspiracy theories easily? Of course, there is a vast literature in psychology and philosophy on each of these topics. There is a consideration of the biases that might contribute to conspiracy theories. The first one in the list, for instance, jumping to conclusions, is definitely something that we can see in Grasshopper. He doesn't wait to consider all the evidence. He prefers to have an explanation straight away. But also, look at his tendency to blame someone for what has happened rather than accept the fact that maybe, it's just the wind. And so it's nobody's fault. That's also identifiable bias that has to do with the fact that we find intentions everywhere and we tend to blame other people, especially if they're powerful, especially if we don't trust them, for what is happening to us. And again, there are a number of psychological needs that explain why people get attached to conspiracy theories. They need to feel in control, they need an explanation straight away, and they need to feel special and unique to be the people who have identified the real cause of the trouble. For each of these issues, the Philosophy Garden offers a handout that can be printed out with information about biases and psychological needs. There is the name of the bias, there is a brief slogan, and there is an example similar with the psychological needs and with other information that may be relevant in understanding conspiracy theories. The Philosophy Garden also offers a number of links to blog posts and online articles, always written by experts, but accessible to the general public and easy to understand. They can really help read around and discover more about the topic. We were lucky that we were able to present our videos and our resources to a number of different audiences already, including teachers and children of different ages from 16 to 7. And we gathered some feedback. So, for instance, Kathleen Murphy Hollis presented the resources at the National Access Summer School to 16 and 17 years old, and she found that they were very interested in the issue of conspiracy theories. They knew people in their lives who endorsed conspiracy theories, and they used the videos to get more information about what a conspiracy theory is. And towards the end, they were able to analyze the conspiracy theories they had encountered in their lives on the basis of the biases, the psychological needs, and the individual and environmental factors that contribute to the spreading of these explanations. Jessica Sutherland also presented our resources at Unifest in an outreach session to young people aged 14 to 15, and she delivered a short interactive session based on the videos and the handouts, and she found that the students were really engaged and wanted to know more about conspiracy theories, and also appreciated how philosophy can be important in trying to understand these issues. And the teacher who was present in the session noticed that this session was very interactive, encouraged young people to talk to each other, and for this reason, she found the children more engaged. And finally, the videos were also presented at a primary school to children aged 8 to 10 with above average level of special educational needs. The session was introduced by talking about the concepts of truth and faith to begin with, and what it means, for instance, to be a fictional character, what it means for an experiment to be reliable, based on what the students were already learning at school at that time. Then the class watched the 3 videos on conspiracy theories that are available in the Philosophy Garden, pausing them at different points to facilitate discussion. And then the teacher, Francesca Whitelock, asked the children to write down on a post-it their comments about the videos, positive and negative. And I'm just going to show you a screen with the comments on the ant and the grasshopper. Some children focus more on the story. I like that the creature stole the nuts. Some children focus more on the message of the story. For instance, whether it was complex or not, or what truth has to do with what the ant and the grasshopper were doing, and so on. But certainly there was a lot of engagement. So the Philosophy Garden is there, available for you to explore. It does encourage everybody to be creative, maybe to script their own explainer video and let us know. Actively engage with the material that is there, including some very interesting games that can be played to test one's understanding, and suggest new material. The look of the Philosophy Garden is something like this, so it's quite attractive to young people, and it is in the form of a dialogue, people asking questions to each other and raising issues. This is one of the games that we link to from the Philosophy Garden, where you're just trying to get more followers by spreading information that may be accurate or inaccurate, depending on what your objectives are. And the Conspiracy Kitchen, which has been developed by 2 psychologists, Karen Douglas and Daniel Jolly, where people can make their own conspiracy theories based on 3 basic ingredients. There are also mini talks by experts, philosophers, social scientists, psychiatrists, psychologists, and they're all under 2 minutes. So again, they're quite important if you want to explore one specific point, not in great depth, but have some ideas about what that point signifies in the literature more widely. And there are, of course, links some essential links I'm going to tell you about now. Our website is www.thephilosophygarden.com, and you can visit and explore. I invite you to come regularly because we are constantly expanding our resources. And we have an Instagram account. So if you want to have our updates, we have maybe produced a new video, you can definitely get posts from the Philosophy Garden on Instagram. And if you're not on social media, we have an email address, ladybird@thephilosophygarden.com, and we can answer all your questions and provide additional help to educators. Finally, let me thank our sponsors, the University of Birmingham, the University of Milan, the Philosophy Museum in Milan, the Arts and Humanities Research Council, and the Royal Institute of Philosophy, who have helped us develop our resources and promote them. Thank you very much for listening, and please come and see us at the Philosophy Garden.